Mr. Troy, could I impose on you when the time arrives to lead us in the pledge?
Oh boy. I can start. I know the first sentence.
That's what we'll do. We'll take the rest.
There's
You
the
know,
flag.
it's funny, but sometimes when we ask people, I kind of whisper to them, I pledge allegiance.
Yeah.
Just because they're on the
I
spot,
asked one
they're
lady that
nervous.
touched base to her, she couldn't get it. So. The special meeting of the Custer County Board of County Commissioners will come to order. Let the record show that today is June 30th, 2020. The time is now 12:30 p.m. If I could ask Mr. Troy Baumgartner to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Well, I guess our clerk just walked out.
Must be a good reason.
Yeah. So I will call the roll real quick. Commissioner Kanda.
Here.
Commissioner Prince.
Present.
Commissioner Flower, present. Assistant clerk to the board, Kara Evans, just stepped out.
But
Just step in.
Now she just stepped back in. So,
Yes,
are you clerking or is Kelly?
I am.
Okay, all right. So I did the roll call for you.
Oh, sorry, I
That's all
forgot
right.
that that's what she does.
So we would ask for the record audience introductions. We'll start here in the commissioner room and then we'll go to the phones. Mr. Mike, would you care to start, please?
Mike McFall, Superintendent, Custer County School District.
Thank you. Go ahead, Troy.
Troy Baumgartner, Counselor, School District.
Stacy Terrell, Custer County Kids Council Coordinator.
Joe Virgilio, Principal, Custer County Schools.
All right, thank you. And on the phone,
Yes.
would you introduce yourselves, please?
Okay, I'm Valerie Opal. I live in the valley.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the phone? All right, Elliot, thank you. Anyone? Anyone else?
Cindy Flower.
Thank you. Is Meredith still on?
So is
Yes, sir.
Okay.
do we still get a mail in? Do they mail it?
So I show 4 guests on the phone, Meredith.
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
I think you got everyone.
All right, thank you. We'll move on. Gentlemen, any amendments to the agenda?
I have none, sir.
Nor do I. Thank you. New business. We have one item of business to consider today. I will allow public comment before the board votes. So since that is the only agenda item, I think, well, we might ask for public comment towards the end of the meeting as well. So with that, the first item of business, consideration of the county. We didn't know, so we put down serving as a fiscal agent for the Substance Abuse Prevention Block Grant. That doesn't necessarily mean that, but we didn't know what else to put down, so we just put that. So I'm not sure that that is exactly right, and I don't believe we need to amend this just to change that title, but I think we all understand the purpose of the agenda item. So with that, I will turn that over to whoever would care to take the lead. I would just throw out, Alyssa Livengood did give us the documents last week, the action plan, the budget template, and then the scope of work. So we
there any
have
other?
those.
Is that it?
Yeah. And then Troy had sent a couple pages out of a document. At least I received them. I didn't see if he sent them to somebody else or not. But with that, I would turn the floor over to y'all.
Oh, well, thank you all for doing this on such short notice. We do apologize for the short notice also. Troy Baumgartner and Joe Virgilio have taken the lead on applying for this grant. It provides social emotional learning and substance abuse education for our students. It's a grant that's from the federal government administered by the state. I'm going to turn it over to Troy so he can give you all the information and answer any questions on it. They've put a lot of work and time into this, and I'm very appreciative, and I think it's a good thing for our students. There's also a county component that will provide funds for some county resources to our families in the county. So we think this is a good win-win grant for all concerned. So I'll turn it over to Troy.
Good. And Joe, jump into.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I've got something.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we had put in for the substance abuse prevention block grant.
Hold on
Can
a
we hold
second.
up just for a second? Can we close the door most
Yeah, it's
of
election
I'm sorry, I'm
day.
having
No,
a hard
you're
time
fine,
hearing. I didn't mean
Sorry.
to interrupt you,
You're
sir.
fine.
I apologize.
Background noise.
Thank you.
And
So-
speak loud, because
Yes,
we
sir.
gotta turn
The
this.
substance abuse prevention block grant is administered by the Office of Behavioral Health, which is a part of the Colorado Department of Health and Public Environment. It's a state agency that actually has access to federal funding as well. Throughout the course of the application of this process, it's a non-competitive grant, which the process of how all this happened is Mr. McFalls was contacted in probably August or September, at which time then turned it over to Mr. Baumgartner. And Mr. Baumgartner and I really didn't get into it until January, February. We worked very closely with Alyssa at Custer County Public Health to look at the needs of our community and identify if this was something that would be helpful in our community. And when we did that, we found out that there was a clear need for substance abuse prevention in our county, and that there were 3 segments of youth that we needed to work with: the public school, the homeschool, and the Amish population. So when we did this, we talked about creating some positions that went with this. The 3 positions that will be funded by the grant: the first one is a healthy living substance abuse life skills teacher. That's a 12-month educator position. That's full-time, responsible for implementing of the program, and it's going to include the substance prevention program.
You said it was 12 months?
That is a 12-month, deal, because there are expected things that need to happen in the summertime that include all of the community kids, not just the public school kids. That all includes the life skills education, health education, career prep, and social emotional education. The second position that comes out of the grant is the one, it's called a project administrator. The project administrator is the person who works out of the Custer County Public Health Agency, and that person's main duties are to collaborate with this hired teacher and to cover the homeschool populations and the Amish populations. The third position that's created by this is a grant project administrator. This is a part-time position that will mostly be responsible for grant paperwork, data requirements, and it is our hope that this person can seek out other ways to continue this. Now, the grant...
Where is that person based?
That person would be based at the school as well. The grant itself is a $100,000 grant awarded yearly for a 5-year cycle. There are opportunities, as Mr. Baumgartner and I were researching and meeting with different entities. For example, Denver Public Schools has started with the 1-year deal, has had it for, I believe, 10 years now, and has a budget somewhere in, was it $2 or $3 million? I don't remember what.
1.3.
$1.3 million budget. So they've taken this, hit the ground with it, and run. Chaffee County is another one that has the grant. They're using this, and Eagle County. But unfortunately, we weren't able to connect with anybody in Eagle County. But very positive things that we've heard about the grant. As personnel was a large part of this, part of our responsibility was to select a curriculum, which we've gone through, and we went through the process with the Board of Education. I just want to reiterate, this was a non-competitive grant. The Office of Behavioral Health contacted us in the county because they identified a need. And they said, we've got these monies, we want to put this to work. Which is how we were identified, which is how we got involved. And one of the things that was a concern, and continues to be a concern is the sustainability of the grant. And we all know it's very uncertain times. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's our intention to be able to take this position or these positions and continue them for the course of 5 years and hopefully be able to do more with it.
Okay.
Cool.
The first question I had.
Yes, sir.
Was that position that's at the school for 12 months.
Yes, sir.
They are allowed to teach, that's just the background I got, I want to clarify.
Yes, sir.
They teach in other courses as well, so it's legit to teach algebra if they need it.
Well, our intention is to hire someone who is certified in physical education.
That would be first, okay.
Because those are the folks that do health education.
Good.
Yes,
Sir, is there a matching component to this grant?
there is not.
What's the downside to this grant?
That's a great question. I have not seen one yet.
That's what I'm trying to think. I couldn't find any when I read the documents either.
We, Mr. Baumgartner and I have had so many conversations with the Office of Behavioral Health. And they've been so wonderful. I mean, it was like, hey, here's $100,000. What do you guys want to do? What's going to work in your community? And I mean, we've revisited the budget process. We've given them our information. We've given them our ideas. They come back and they're like, hey, this is great. Oh, you got to do this. Make sure you're covering this population. But it's been really great.
So related to that question
Yes,
is,
Mr. Cannon.
I know you have X courses, so is it 6, 9 that are required, whatever it is?
Yes, sir.
And you all are happy with those, and the parents are all going to be tickled.
Mr. Baumgartner, what do you think?
It's actually be,
It's hard to say.
I know how tickled they'll be.
All tickled, but.
It's going to be part of our health curriculum, and the substance abuse piece is only in, it kind of has a tiered effect. The first year, I believe, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 12, 15 sessions.
Oh, yeah.
7th grade is 10 sessions,
Right.
8th grade is like 5 or 6 sessions. So it's just kind of a piece of our curriculum that we're already doing. In fact, we do some drug prevention in our curriculum now. We
So
just,
there 6 courses or?
well,
Vary.
it's a curriculum
Right.
that
I
varies
see.
depending on what year you're doing it.
Right.
It's not going to be a drug prevention class
No.
all year long or all semester. It's just within the health curriculum.
Yes.
So,
Mr. Prince.
So, just to make sure I understand, so the county's involvement would be through the public health nurse with the project manager to deal with the non-in-school population. Is that
Exactly.
correct?
Yes, sir. And to help with things like the idea is for with the involvement of all 3 of the folks hired to host summer activities, to host after prom, to promote things that that are alcohol, drug free, to promote those kind of activities.
Are can you accept a motion at this time?
we can, yeah, I've got some questions, but it can come during discussion of the motion.
You can ask a question.
Yeah, my questions probably wouldn't be directly related to the motion, so I'd probably have to rule myself out of order, so I'd prefer to ask them now if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
So I'm looking at the budget, Custer County FY20 budget page. Is the SRO part of this or not?
No, sir.
Okay, because I see you've got them listed in that budget page.
and it has been revised some.
Okay,
So let me,
all right.
because if
And
that's
then-
still in there, we need to make a correction.
Okay. So and you're welcome to look at my computer if you want. This was off the document that Alyssa provided us last week.
That's not the old one.
Okay,
We revised it in February,
okay.
and we took that off of there.
All right, so the project coordinator, you have 60,000 plus their fringe. I get that.
Well, and
25%.
it's 0.7 of 60,000.
Oh, yeah.
60,000 in our county is a pretty high salary.
Okay,
So
I
it's-
see
yeah.
.6.
So that's the one, when it says project coordinator, that's what the Office of Behavioral Health identifies it as, whereas for us, it's
Okay, yeah, I'm
a
looking
teaching
at no-
position.
Okay, so, so 7/10 of a year is what you're figuring.
No, 7/10 of the 60,000. It's a
Okay, why is that?
$42,000.
Salary
Well,
range.
it's just for our
You're just
county.
scaling that back to meet our county standards, okay, all right. And then the difference between 51,240 and 60,000 plus the fringes, that stays in the grant, you're not gonna lose that. My point is, why not pay them 60,000 a year if that's what the grant's gonna
Well,
allow?
you'll see in the budget, there's other items we
Okay, all right.
account for. We're not
Yeah.
losing any money.
So grant administrator,
The project, you have that, the project administrator, the grant project administrator, and then you also have curriculum as well. You have funding for our Sources of Strength program. Other things are also included in that budget.
okay. So this salaried position would be an existing employee of the school district, or you anticipate hiring somebody completely new?
Well, we are going to open it up. They're welcome if there's somebody that's at the school that's
an
qualified
additional
that would like to
position,
yes.
apply, but it is an additional position, yes.
Okay, okay. I'll pass this around, gentlemen, so you can look at it real quick. Yeah, because it's not reflective of what we have, so.
I apologize for that.
So 100,000 a year on a 5-year cycle, and we assume the next 4 years will be 100,000 as well, and then that 5th year, the reporting's a little different on that, I see, but no big thing there.
And you may have saw for out of the public health office, I believe, Joe, we did 600
600
hours.
hours.
600
Yeah.
hours, yeah.
So,
Do you think $15 an hour is fair?
well, that Alyssa did.
Okay,
We got that kind of from her, and it's benefits too.
yeah, I saw that.
So-
Yeah, 25% benefit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cannon.
You mentioned bigger towns
Yeah.
rolling and making millions of dollars. This is good through 5 years with the state funding. Is there some plan to wean us off of it, or are they going to continue that based on the budget, the poorness of the county, the drug? Or if we cured all the drugs, do they stop it? How does it work? Because that means we would eventually have to be phased into picking up the ball. Somebody's got to pick up the ball if that's the case.
Well, I would assume it's a federal grant, so
Right.
if the grant funding goes away, the program goes away.
Program, yeah.
We're not on the hook to
We're-
continue.
We have no intention
That's what I asked.
at this time of making any contributions. Our budget is just not in that particular position right now.
Yeah, I didn't mean it from the budget point of view. I meant it from, you're going to have a drug program, and your curriculum could change or not, but eventually the need for the federal money may go away because for whatever the reason.
Well, my hope would be that we have
We're not-
success with the program, and our Board of Education, our community would say, hey, this is worthwhile, and if we have to pick it up, that,
Or if there's bigger tax base
No,
or whatever.
the pressures are unrelenting for, against students to get into tobacco, alcohol, drugs. So that will never go, even if we're successful, it will never go away. So it's a continuous, yeah.
Is the curriculum specifically targeted to middle school?
we do have a high school that goes through 9th grade. And well, there's actually a high school curriculum. We plan to use it primarily with 9th grade.
So it's not from 1st grade to 9th grade, or to
Well-
12th grade, you're gonna pick some
We have an
population.
elementary
Yeah,
curriculum as
Go
well.
ahead, Joe.
Yeah, there's an elementary curriculum as well. There's a dedicated middle school curriculum, and then we do have the curriculum for the freshmen.
So I want to ask you another question. Our phones were ringing off the hook yesterday and this morning.
Sorry.
Can you share with us the Board of Education's original hesitation to approve this? We have not been told that we have not been told any of the reasons. We damn sure have heard, oh, the school board doesn't want to do this.
That was a timeline issue
Okay?
on our part. When I originally brought this, the way I viewed this was it was instructional support and materials, because in our Unified Improvement Plan, social emotional learning is a component that had been voted on by the board. And that was my mistake, and we proceeded forward thinking that this wouldn't be an issue, and the board was not properly informed and brought along, and so their resistance was at the suddenness of them learning about it. They didn't have any reservations other than that, and I can't speak completely for the board, although being privy to all the conversations, that is my take on it. They also wanted to be sure that the curriculum was in line with what the standards and morals of our community is. They didn't want anything being imposed upon us. They didn't want any record keeping being imposed upon us that we didn't feel like was,
Appropriate.
yeah, giving up names and stuff like that. So that was just on our part. We need to do a better job to educate them. So that was their big issue.
Yeah, because I don't know how many times I heard about it yesterday, so.
Yeah, the vote was unanimous to accept it yesterday.
Yeah, and Patrick did come in just at the end of our BOCC meeting yesterday. Actually came in during the public comment, which was the last item of business. Joe came in as well, I'm sorry, but.
You're fine.
So, yeah, he kind of filled us in a little bit. But yeah, I had not a lot, maybe a half a dozen, 7 people. Why in the world would the school board not want to do this? And I said, I don't know that. And if it was, hey, we don't have the information, we did the same thing here yesterday. We said, well, we're not doing anything, we don't have the information. So I get that.
Sure did.
Understood
Thank you.
that. Yeah. Thank you for answering those questions. Anything else, gentlemen? Other questions in general, or Chair would entertain a motion?
What I might add is what you read, the district is a fiscal agent. We're the lead agency. And
So yeah, but that is a good question. So we're not an administrator of anything. You're not running the money through us. All we got is the health nurse going to help.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. There'll be collaboration between.
Yeah.
And we'll have a memorandum of understanding of what their responsibilities are.
And technically, I don't want to get hung up on the details, but I want to be accurate here too. Public health director is not necessarily going to be one of those positions. We're going to hire a position to be staffed out of public health. Is that right?
Administrator, you called it.
You mean part of the grant?
Yes.
That's,
It's up to us.
yeah.
Okay, so you
Maybe there's some
three
cash for that.
positions.
There is,
Yes. It's at 600 hours at 15.
Right, so you're going to give us cash to cover the need, and whether we hire somebody or not is up to us.
No.
You're hiring that person,
No.
No.
okay?
Yeah.
So we need
They
clarification
work,
there.
so they would work through, that person works through an MOU between the school and the county health agency. And as far as billing goes, how that's handled is we are to pay out, and then we invoice the Office of Behavioral Health and they reimburse us.
Okay. Yeah, it's a reimbursable grant. We need to know that up front too. So this 600-hour, this part-time person, you don't anticipate hiring somebody
No,
to do that.
no, sir.
You anticipate using somebody that's currently a county employee through public health.
Right.
Okay, that's what I was.
And if that person's not available, then you could hire a part-time person or no?
I don't know that we would. I think
It's up
that we
to
would
us.
have to coordinate with
So,
health to make
so
sure.
you're just giving us some money to cover the need, and if we can cover it with the current people we have hired, fine.
Yes.
Or we could hire a part-time person ourselves to
Yeah.
work other things than this.
What's the name of the grant?
Substance Abuse Prevention Block Grant.
Let me look something up here real quick, if you don't mind.
No, sir.
Yeah, and then we had, I'm assuming this was an example out of Sugar City.
As a template.
Yeah, just a template of, so you guys will fill that in appropriately for Custer County. You probably have already done that. I'm just telling you, I don't have a copy of it. We're not
In that,
gonna-
is it a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Go over to, at the bottom, look for Custer County.
Gotcha, sorry,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll just make a statement if I can, please. I think this, what we're asking for the county's public health nurse to do is certainly within the purview of her experience and responsibility is to help with prevention. So I think this is an adjunct to what we already do. We'll be supporting you in this project. I'm having a real hard time seeing a downside to this.
Yeah, I don't particularly see a downside to it. I just think there's some things that aren't real clear. I don't anticipate putting this on the public health director. Maybe that happens, but I don't think that's a foregone conclusion. Do you?
Well, part of Alyssa's, let me take Alyssa out. Part of the public health is education for the county in terms of health, emotional health, drug addiction, and all the things that the public health nurse is involved in. What we're doing here, it appears to me, is we're bringing in another vehicle to assist in doing that to a wider portion of our county. So I kind of see this just as an adjunct to what we're currently doing.
Let me try something too. I agree. The way I see it mechanically happening, there are needs to have participate in programs. It's going to happen. It's going to require pamphlets. It's going to require people standing there doing whatever. And that's part of our function. They're going to ask us to support. We've got money to do it. Either the people that are there today doing it and may have time to do it, or they may have to go get some additional help temporarily for that program, or buy some books or whatever it might be. So I think I think as we go and we start implementing it, they'll learn and we'll be able to do it. I think the MOU will give us the flexibility to do that, and we're going to execute whatever the requirement is by spreading the work across the agency, the secretary, the whoever that's in there. It's not just one person that's going to do this. And the health agency.
I agree with what you're saying, but when it comes to
I'm just looking at the
the
mechanics.
county portion of this,
That's
it falls onto the public health.
right.
And I think it fits
Oh, yes,
exactly
it fits,
what public health does.
the description.
So,
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. The point I guess I want to make is the fact that we're talking about another 20 hours a week.
Right.
Now, you put that on top of 32 hours a week for the public health director, that's 52 hours a week.
But that's my point, Tom. It's not necessarily the health director only, because some of it's simple stuff that the secretary would be doing is part-time or additional, or we have to hire.
but you're
some-
assuming that the public health nurse now has a 32-hour full schedule,
Right.
and adding this on is going to increase the workload, and I'm not sure that's
It may.
true. We don't know that. But the overall concept is exactly what is in the middle of the
Right.
public
The
health
beauty is
nurse.
there's a budget to support
And I'm
additional
not
labor.
questioning the overall concept.
Yeah, I understand.
I looked at it, it's a 20-hour-a-week position, yes or no, for
I
public health?
think we figured 15,
Okay.
if our math was correct.
Yes, sir, that's
Can I
correct.
look at that document? So I just don't want to sit here and say, yeah, a public health director is going to do this. I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
The public health agency, I don't have a problem with that. I just think we need to be careful that we're not misrepresenting it. The public health director is going to take on another 20-hour-a-week
I
job.
think that's a semantics. I think public health agency and the
That's my
county,
point. It's
through
not
its
one
public
person.
health agency,
Right.
will take on additional responsibilities that are really part of the job description in the first
You have
place.
to buy materials, it's covered. You have to-
And I would say for a program like this, if we found down the road that the county needed to do something to support this beyond just say yes to the grant, I would be inclined to discuss that favorably based upon what's presented to us. I mean, this is exactly what the county administration needs to do, is take care of its people, and this is what this does.
So the salary for the coordinator, sorry, the administrator. If that is a county employee, then do we pay that salary and then the grant reimburses us, or do you pay that salary and the grant reimburses you? Do you have a feel for that?
Joe, help me with, it is the administrator, these were the OVH's
So
terms,
this
so we
is-
struggle with them a little bit.
So this would be the project administrator.
Right,
I
for-
think. The one that
Is
works
that-
out of the Custer County Public Health Agency?
Yes,
That's what they're talking about, yeah.
yeah. So who pays that person, you guys, or do we?
I think,
Or is it an agency?
we may have to walk through that a little bit this afternoon, is you guys pay them, you guys submit an invoice, and their goal is within 30 to 45 days, after 45 days, they gotta pay interest. I'm assuming, and I think we would prefer that you guys would take care of it, and then file the paperwork.
Depends on how we write the MOU.
Yeah.
Directly over that
Yeah.
paperwork come through you for reimbursement. Do you have
Can
an
I
idea?
say something?
Go ahead, Susan.
I don't want to assume, but I would try to draw, and Tom would be familiar with this, a parallel to, for example, the Kids Council. We invoice the state, specifically the Office of Early Childhood. The county is our fiscal agent. They reimburse the state, we run it through Donna. I'm not saying that's how it would be, but I can see from a semantics, and we'll talk to Bonnie about that, that it could be as similar, and I feel I'm kind of comfortable explaining that.
Butch Gurman asked me exactly the same
Right.
question this morning, and I
Gotcha.
told him, as long as it's reimbursed, I'm not concerned
Sure.
really how it
Sure.
goes.
Right.
Yeah, as you guys are probably well aware of, our public health director has resigned, so we're getting ready to saddle someone else with this responsibility as a public health director. Doesn't mean he or she has to do the work,
That's right.
but it's
The
gonna
agency
be on
does
their desk.
Part of their
Do
duties.
you anticipate this coordinator being housed in public health,
Yes, sir.
not over at the school?
No,
What
sir.
they
Okay.
said.
And that's what the grant talked about.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to make sure that we're clear there.
In-house function.
Yeah, I would guess, gentlemen, I would throw out to you that I got the sense from our current public health director that she was all in on this, didn't have any issues with that when she made her presentation during her staff report. We can agree with that assessment.
I would, yes, sir.
She is off on vacation right now, so that's why she's not here today. But that was a feeling I got, that she didn't have any problem with this at all. So on no downside whatsoever. So Chair would entertain a motion if that's the group's pleasure.
I'll go ahead and I move that we support the Custer County School in the grant, the substance abuse block grant. I know I missed it, it's close enough.
Yep.
That we support them, that we make available our public health agency for the portion that the county will be responsible for. And I'd like to add to the motion, I really appreciate the efforts of the school for what you're doing for the kids in our community.
Okay. So
I'll
the
second.
Chair's going to ask you to be a little more succinct on your motion, if you would, please.
Except participating in the right MOU.
You know I'm never succinct, you know that.
Yeah.
I move that we support the Custer County School in its efforts with the block
All
grant.
right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Second?
I say.
It's been moved and seconded to support Custer County Schools' efforts in pursuing the substance abuse prevention block grant. Further discussion?
So it's a school grant or is it a district grant? How's it worded? What is it? I know it's the name of it, but
Right, yeah.
The agency
the
is the school
agency is the
district.
school
Agency
district.
is the
Yeah,
school
but it's a collaborative grant
Okay.
with
With the district.
Further discussion, questions, or comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All, yes, sir, I guess
Would you like to go to the phone?
Public comment.
Do we have any public comment from the folks on the phone?
Tom, this is Elliot. Just a couple of clarifying questions.
Go ahead.
Who is going to be the actual fiscal agent for the grant? Will it be the school district or the county?
School
District.
district.
School district, okay. And then just a quick question for someone from the district, Troy or Joe. Is this curriculum that you're talking about using, is this the BotVin life skills curriculum?
Yes.
Is it a specific curriculum?
Yes, BotVin Life Skills.
That's one,
Okay.
that's for the
And is
middle
it
school,
just-
high school.
That's
sorry.
That's what we chose. The curriculum is entirely up to us.
Okay. Did you get that?
Okay. Oh, the curriculum, okay, so you chose the curriculum, it wasn't chosen for you by the feds or the state?
That is correct.
Okay, and just one more question, is this targeted initially at grades 6 through 8 with possible plans to expand?
No.
It's the, other than school.
Right, no, it's,
Better
it's,
state it
it's
again.
targeted, it's targeted at the entire school population.
Sorry,
And
okay, so I'm sorry, the entire school, so this is gonna be elementary through high school, not just targeted at middle school?
Yes, ma'am, as well as homeschool population and the Amish population.
so three areas,
Okay,
Elliot.
great.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I have a comment, please.
Who is this?
This is Valerie Ogle.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to speak on the life skills educational material that you are recommended. And I will tell you that having taught those classes previously, I would highly recommend them. They teach children coping skills and enable them to have the ability or to make good decision making
Thank you.
and making good choices, which is pretty critical at that age. So,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Hey Valerie, I tried to call you today. What's your phone number again?
it is 210-287-9251. And I want to thank everybody for trying to get this educational effort going.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate the comments. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Kanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Flower votes aye. Motion carries. We will support the Custer County Schools' efforts in obtaining the Substance Abuse Prevention Block Grant.
Who's going to initiate the MOU?
We're doing that this afternoon with the state contract.
Anything else to come before the commission at this time?
I have nothing, sir.
Commissioner Kanda, nor do I.
Can I make a last statement
Yes.
on a different subject?
Yep.
Guys, thanks for the matching grant. It was awarded to Willow Green Bank, and she is extremely excited. She's going to Lamar Community College studying veterinary science, and it was a big blessing to her.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for taking care of that for us, too. Hearing no further business, the chair declares this motion adjourned, or this meeting adjourned. All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
thank you, guys.
you.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
We're going to hang
Squeeze
up
by
the
you one more
net now.
time. Just gotta turn this off.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.